Hello, everyone, and welcome to a brand new episode of Author Spotlight. I'm your host, Elaine Volpe, and joining me today is local author Caitlin Starseski. So thank you so much for joining us.
Of course.
We're so excited that you're here.
I'm excited.
She is the author of her first picture book, right? This is your very first
Yes.
one. First picture book. This house is so special to me. And I thought we can actually start off by reading the story, if you
Sure.
wouldn't mind, Caitlin.
Sure.
We will take turns and we'll read this wonderful book out loud together to our audience.
Yeah.
And then you can tell us a little bit more about it.
Sure.
The story behind the story, if
Sure.
you will. Okay, do you want to start or you want me to start?
You can go ahead.
Okay. Blanket forts, campfire s'mores, overfilling kitchen drawers. This house is so special to me.
Homemade bread, unmade beds, Papa's big red shiny sled. This house is so special to me.
Holidays, birthdays, and moments sweet. This house is ours to love and keep. This house is so special to me.
Time moves on, more memories made. Some things just don't feel the same. But this house is so special to me.
Mom and Dad make new plans. The brother and I may not understand. This house is so special to me.
Why would we want to up and leave? Our dearest memories we will grieve. This house will always be special to me.
We take a tour with many rooms to explore. Maybe this home will open a door. Will this new house be special to me?
We pack our boxes and say our goodbyes. These walls held memories we now keep inside. No one can replace the time spent here, but this new house will now be special to me.
Unlock the door. It's time to go home. We look forward to new memories and moments to grow. We'll embrace our new home and make it our own. This home and this family are special to me. The end. So, such an important topic, Caitlin, because I think a move is a huge life-changing moment and can be very stressful no matter what age you are, right? Both to adults and to kids alike. But I think especially for children, it can be a challenging time. So if you could talk a little bit about the inspiration behind your story. I don't know if you personally went through a move and dealt with some of these emotions that kind of go along with, you know, all of
the
it.
change. Yeah.
Or because of your full-time job as a realtor, did you just see this happening a lot and maybe kind of get the idea from other families to write the book? How did this all start?
So it's a combination.
Okay.
So my family actually, we did just move.
Okay.
And for me personally, anytime my children go through any kind of change or any big thing happening, for me, it's important to find a book to relate, because when you can when you can find words to your feelings, it makes you feel better.
So true.
So I also am a realtor full time, and I work with a lot of families. And it's important to me when they have children to give them some kind of gift. Usually I like to tailor it to the kids and what they like and things like that, something for their new house. And I also like a book. But the genre of books for moving is very, very small.
It's slim.
Yeah.
Yes, I can tell you that because,
Yeah.
like I said, it's such an important topic. But when I go to order these books, the selection usually isn't that large.
Right.
So,
Yeah. Usually I would do like a Dr. Seuss come over to my house, kind of a silly, goofy, but not a serious, emotional kind of thing.
Right.
So for me, I just had this idea, and I was like, you know, there needs to be a book about feelings, and I took the time and I did a lot of research, and I put this together, so now I can give it to my clients. My kids used it for our move.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. So let's talk about, you just said you did the research and you put the time in. Let's talk, and we're just going to jump around here if that's okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how long it did take you start to finish to write this book, because even though it's a simple story and it's not very long, and picture books typically aren't, I know that it still takes a whole lot of time and research, as you said, to get it published. So
Yeah.
can you kind of take us through the process from
Sure.
the very beginning all the way up to its availability on Amazon? And
Sure. Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, it started as an idea. I started jotting down like just little sentences and things that I thought kind of went together with children's books. It's great for repetition to be in there. So I felt it was important to have some kind of phrase or line. So this house is so special to me just kind of came to me. So I was like, that has to be reoccurring through the story. And once I had my story kind of down pat, that's when I went and I did a ton of research. I watched a lot of videos on YouTube, TikTok. I just looked on the internet, and there's a lot of information out there as far as like where you should get started, how you should do it. I did start looking into children's publishers, but for me it felt like a harder avenue to take because they usually want to work with someone who has like an agent or someone who can introduce the book to them. Like someone like Scholastic or Disney are not just going to take any author.
Right.
So for me, it felt like Amazon was the best route to self-publish, and then maybe eventually open myself up to finding a publisher. I'm still looking for one, but I looked through that, and I took notes on every video or everything that I found, and I kind of came up with my own kind of plan with bits and pieces of all kinds of information. It's very important to, we were briefly talking about this before, but it's very important to make sure you hire an editor.
We were talking before the show.
Yeah. So that's one thing I would say is if you are the best writer, you still need an editor. I was humbled by my editor, and that's okay. But I went through a website called Fiverr, which is where a lot of freelancers, you can hire them and you can look at samples of their work. I actually used Fiverr for everything in my book. So I had the editor through there. My
Fiverr, Fiver?
Yes.
Fiverr?
Fiverr.com.
Okay.
I hired my illustrator through there. And then I know there's a technical term for this and I can't think of it, but there's a special editor that goes like a page layout editor. So I hired, and they're all women from actually across the world. The illustrator's from Indonesia. I believe my page editor was from Belgium or something. It's really cool. Yeah. So, we can communicate through the inbox there, and I had a specific way I saw the book in my mind, and I was not going to just settle. So it took me a while when I going back and forth, but everything I asked for, she did it beautifully and better than I could have thought.
The illustrator?
Yeah, the illustrator.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about, I think that's so hard when you go through a traditional publishing house like Scholastic or any of those bigger, Random House. I know that the author typically doesn't have a say, right? They choose the illustrator. And I often wondered, is that hard? Because what if your vision doesn't match up? What if the pictures don't match up the way that you saw them? Now, you said that she did, and I think she did an amazing job.
Yeah.
With picture books especially, pictures help tell so much of the story.
Right.
They don't just enhance. They help to tell the story. So I think it's really cool that you guys did kind of mesh, and she was able to bring your vision to fruition.
Right.
But I often wonder if that's difficult, if sometimes, when books come out, if the author is kind of disappointed, right?
Yeah.
Oh, this isn't what I thought.
And I didn't want that to happen. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I guess that's a bonus with self-publishing. You can then choose
how you want it. Yeah, because on the website you can see the type of graphics that they do. And I wanted this more, I don't know what you would say, cartoony kind of,
rather than realistic.
Yeah. And there are people that do the more realistic style or whatever. It's just what you want. And then, I would send her pictures. I actually used my children are the characters. So I sent her a picture, and my husband and I are also in the book at one point. So that was really cool to see us in character form in this book.
Yes.
But to answer your question, I got a little ahead of myself.
No, that's okay.
I think in total, from starting with the idea to finishing it, probably took me about 8 or 9 months. Okay. Which isn't terrible.
That isn't terrible. Under a year, I think that's actually pretty incredible. Yeah. So kudos to you.
Well, thank you.
With everything else that you are doing too.
Right.
Full-time realtor, full-time mom. Publishing a children's book was a big undertaking.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
I definitely give you a lot of credit.
Thank you.
If we could go back briefly to kind of what we were just talking about, and this came up in our first episode when we interviewed D.H. Anderson. An editor is so important.
Yes.
So many people have a story to tell, and I think that is a wonderful, amazing thing.
Mm-hmm.
But unless you can tell that story, you know what I'm trying to say, like in the right way, and unless
Grammar.
you can,
Yeah.
and then I'm getting to like grammar and spelling and all that, of course.
Right.
But you need that extra set of eyes to
hear it outside of your
to
head.
make sure, right, because like you said, you could be the best writer in the world.
Yeah.
You're going to miss things because it's your story. You need that outside person.
Right.
I think there is so much value in that. And, working in libraries, I get so many submissions of people who want to donate, and there really is criteria that I have to stick to, hold to, right? I can't catalog a book that has typos and misspelled things and grammatical errors. So I do think having an editor is so very important, like you said. But was that difficult? Because I know an editor will sometimes pare things down. I tend to be a very wordy person.
Yes.
Right?
No, me too.
And somebody will say, Elaine, this is like way too long. You got to cut this. I'm like, but it's really important. Like,
Right.
So was that a difficult process for you? Or how much of the story did she change or cut? Or was it mostly just grammar and?
Well, yeah, it was just the honestly, she only tweaked like some of the sentences because of the way that I had extra words that just didn't make sense.
It didn't flow.
Yeah, she just kind of reworded them, but it really wasn't as much change as I had assumed.
Well, that's good.
And I was scared. Yeah, I was scared because I'm petrified to share my personal work.
Yeah,
and she wrote me a beautiful, beautiful note that I'll cherish forever. That actually made me cry about how important it was that this story was going to be written and that I did a beautiful job and all this stuff. So,
yay, I just got chills for you. That's very rewarding. But you do have to be receptive though and open to that criticism. I think that is crucial.
Yes. I was bracing myself.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
Let's speak a little bit more about that. It is so important. Like we said, there's not a whole lot of books out there. And you had talked about why it's important, right? Being able to label your feelings, putting words with your emotions.
Right.
I think is so very important. What else so that was your main intent when publishing this book, right?
Yes.
You wanted to help kids cope with those feelings that they were experiencing, those mixed feelings, because while a new home can be exciting, it's also so sad to leave what you know and love.
Yeah.
So that was definitely your main goal. What else did you want kids to get out of the story? Was there anything else that you were, looking to accomplish?
Yeah. So not only for kids, I felt like it was important for adults to hear it because I know, like, I have a family. Actually, the house on the front of the cover is the house that I grew up in, and I sent her the picture of it, and it was a very special house for me. It's where my brother and I grew up till we were I was in college when my parents moved, but my brother, he was still there. So it's important to take a minute to read it as a family, and as an adult, it makes you emotional because it makes you realize your kids have the same kind of big feelings that maybe you do as an adult, and they still carry emotions and memories, and it's hard. And it opens up a conversation. And it takes you right back to maybe, even for adults, a time when you moved from a house that, was so special to you.
Right.
But no matter what, you're with your family, and that's where the memories
And that's where
stay.
home is, right?
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So having that book is so important. I think there's so much value in what you're doing. I think it's incredible. Is there any other advice you would give families besides like reading a good book together and opening up those lines of communication and just talking about it? Just from your personal experience with your move, is there any other advice you can give to parents or families and how to deal with a move?
Yeah, I think like my kids, they need a little bit of a warning of things happening. They can't just be thrown into something.
Yes.
So talking about it, I know with our new house, we drove by it a few times. We talked about
That's a great idea.
different scenarios as far as your school, the drive to school is going to be a little bit longer. You're not like, we would go to the park nearby. Like, this will be our new park. Just,
Yeah. So preparing them ahead of time. That's great advice.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Very good. Okay, so let's just go to some of the. So
Sure.
I feel like you gave a lot of helpful information to any adult, maybe who is considering publishing a book, right?
Yes.
Just with like who to go through and doing your research and making sure you get an editor and all that jazz. What about if you were speaking to a young audience? Okay, a third grader says, "That's what I want to be when I grow up. I want to be an author." What advice would you give to young children who are maybe considering writing as a career?
Buy a notebook.
Good one. Right.
Just
write down everything. Right.
Yeah,
Write down your
every
thoughts.
emotion, every
You
thought.
never know what's going to turn into a story.
Exactly. You like out of nowhere, a story can come out of you, and
Yeah.
you can cherish and keep it, and you can always rephrase it as you get older and add to it as you get older
Yes.
when you learn bigger words and things like that. So I wrote a lot as a kid. I never really shared it, but I have a lot of journals that I still keep from
That
like
you
high
still
school.
have. I love it.
Yeah, but I was always writing, and even I write down song lyrics a lot because like things just resonate with me, just like a book's words resonate with me. So I have a lot of those notebooks that I grew up doing, and they're special to me. But I would just say keep writing and keep going. And if you want to do something, you can do it.
Yes.
There's no one that can tell you no. So
Yes, that is wonderful advice. Everybody knows Dav Pilkey, right? The author of Captain Underpants.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Ricky Ricotta and all those popular. And I know I actually got to hear him speak once, and I've read different bios on him and whatnot. But his story started from his drawings when he was in elementary school, right?
Right.
In second grade. So it is so very true that you don't know.
Right.
Like you said, you can change it along the way.
Yeah.
But that original idea that you maybe had when you were 8 years old can someday become a book.
Right.
So
Exactly.
yeah, I love that. That is so true.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, so you are a full-time realtor, a full-time mom to two young children?
Yes.
Okay. And then you're writing books on the side. So how do you balance life? How do you do it all?
Coffee.
Coffee. Okay, that's a good answer. That's an honest answer.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, I'd say I do a lot of my work in the evening. So, as moms, the kids go to bed, you wait for that moment where you can have the time and you're so exhausted all day. But when that 9:30, 10 o'clock hits, you get this jolt of energy. And for me, that's when I'm working or I'm writing down things or researching or doing something. And so, I kind of kick myself when I wake up in the morning and I'm exhausted again. But I just keep going for my kids, for my husband, for my family.
Yeah.
You just kind of become a superhero.
You really do. You really do.
Yeah.
Moms are superheroes.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, that's incredible. Do you plan on writing anymore? How much did you enjoy this experience?
Yeah.
Is it something that you always wanted to do, or was it? You said you kept your notebooks.
Yeah.
So clearly, you always enjoyed writing.
Yeah.
But was publishing a book ever something that was even on your radar?
No.
Or did it kind of just happen?
It kind of just happened. No,
Okay.
It never was on my radar as like a to-do until I felt like it was almost
need was
a
there.
need was there and I needed to do this. I just had this feeling like I needed to do it. So,
Right.
but
Okay.
I've never thought that I would do something like this, but here I am.
But you're having a good experience. You
Yes.
did enjoy it, so
Yes.
you would consider writing
Oh, yes.
another one.
Yeah, I've already started taking notes for different ideas, all pertaining to moving and houses and stuff like
Very
that. So,
good.
yeah, so hopefully,
great.
yeah, I'll have some more.
How about reading? Were you an avid reader growing up?
Yes.
I feel like a lot of times if you have an interest in writing, like reading and writing go hand in hand.
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
So you did read a lot.
Yes.
As a child and as a teenager.
Mm-hmm.
I like to ask people what their favorite book of all time is, and I know that's a really difficult question.
It is.
But if you had to narrow it down to one all-time favorite, what would it be, and maybe why
Okay.
as well?
I
You can take a moment to think
yeah,
about it.
I think that it's a book on my bookshelf that I've kept since I was younger. I haven't read it in a little while, but I would say my favorite is Island of the Blue Dolphins.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, because
I remember reading it in fifth grade. I was in
Yes.
like 4th or 5th grade.
yeah, and
Yeah.
it's I've kept it my whole life and I've had it. I still have it. I was thinking about rereading it again actually, but just the perseverance that she had on that island. And to face all her fears and everything like that.
Absolutely.
It's a great message for young girls, and I would say that would probably be like a favorite of mine.
Yeah, it's a good one. Do your kids have a favorite? Like, you find yourself reading a book over and over and over again?
Yeah, well, my
Which is
son.
never a bad thing, but sometimes it
No.
does get old.
No, my son is in the phase of he loves monster trucks and cars. So anything with cars, he wants to read those. My
Okay.
daughter, she's just getting into chapter books. So that's kind of fun
That's so
for
exciting.
us. Yeah,
When
we
they
can
take that next step up.
Yeah, so we'll read like a little bit, either a chapter or a little bit of a chapter every night together. So, but we are reading Mrs. Pigglewiggle right now, so
Oh, yeah.
that's fun.
That is a fun one, yes. And we're talking about like the memories, right? And doesn't
Mm-hmm.
matter what house you live in, it's what you do together that are creating those memories. And I think reading together is just such a special thing that we can do with our children, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I like to always emphasize to the families that I talk to that you're never too old to read together,
Mm-hmm.
right? I was reading aloud with my teenager when he was still in middle school. We did
That's
the Hunger
wonderful.
Games series
Oh,
together,
that's cool.
right?
Yeah.
You can always enjoy reading
Right.
together
Of
and
course.
reading aloud.
Of course. Yeah,
So I just think that's such a special
it is. It's special.
memory.
Yeah, I mean, I grew up not far from this library, actually. So the summer, my mom was a teacher, so we spent the summers usually here in the library.
At this library? Oh, that's a lead into my next question. We are interviewing all local authors
Yes.
in the Pittsburgh area, but it's really cool when they're right here from Bethel Park or
Right.
neighboring communities. So where do you live currently? And then I guess you're saying you grew up here in Bethel Park.
Yes, yeah. I live in Mount Lebanon now,
Okay.
but I grew up in Bethel. My grandparents actually still live in the same house. They've lived there for like 70 some years, and it
Wow.
was my grandfather's parents' house too. So
Oh my goodness.
we are lifers here in Bethel for the
That's-
most part. Yeah.
It's such a wonderful community.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I grew up here. I went to high school here, and like I said, I would spend my summers here because my mom was a teacher and she would do a lot of tutoring.
Okay.
So my brother and I would just read
Yeah.
while we were here while she was tutoring. So,
That's great.
and we would walk. We were close enough. We would walk. So we always had like our library bags and all
Right.
that kind of. So that's great
Nice.
memories. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so talking about, because you are local, what is your favorite thing to do in the Pittsburgh area?
Oh,
We live in a pretty cool city.
I know.
One thing that you enjoy doing together, like as a family.
as a family, I would say I think any activities that we have, we love to do. Like now the fall festival, so like that's our thing,
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
all the farms
Hit
and
as
all the
many as you
pumpkins,
can,
yeah, like the
yeah.
trolley ride, all of the fun things like that. So we like to look for stuff like that. And I would say for my husband and I, our favorite thing would be going to new restaurants because there's so many great restaurants
Me too.
in the
I'm
city
a
of
foodie.
Pittsburgh. Yes, me too.
Do you have a favorite?
No, I wouldn't say I have a favorite right now, but I love trying all the new
Yeah.
restaurants.
And
So-
there are so many always
know.
popping up.
I
You're
know,
right. It's
yeah.
hard. I have an ongoing list in my phone. It's like, oh my
Yes.
gosh, I'm never going to be able to check these all off, right? Because then I keep
know.
adding to it.
I know. I always
it is
save
a
them on
fun-
Instagram.
It's
Yeah.
a fun thing and it
Yeah.
makes for a fun date night.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. All right, let's just breeze through some
Sure.
more fun questions, if you will.
Sure.
Favorite color?
Red.
Do you have any pets in addition to your 2 children? Not in addition to, but in your household, you have 2 children. Do you have any pets?
Yes, it is the Wild West in my house. We
Oh my
have 2
goodness.
dogs. One is a dachshund, a miniature wiener dog, and
Aw.
her name is Pumpkin. And then we have a 1-year-old blue heeler / Australian Shepherd, and her name is Bluey because she's a blue heeler like the cartoon. So
Yeah. Okay, that's
Yeah.
great. What is your favorite vacation destination?
Oh gosh. I don't think I have a favorite. I think that anywhere that I get to go that's new and exciting with my family is probably
I
my
love
favorite.
that answer.
Yeah.
I love that answer. Okay, so we already talked about how busy you are. You're,
Mm-hmm.
you know, you have a full-time job. You're a mom. You're doing this on the side. But when you find the time, what other hobbies do you enjoy?
I love music. So I sang my whole life. So I love singing, and I started taking piano lessons. So that's something I've always wanted to do.
As an adult? Mm-hmm. Oh, see,
It's
it's
very
never
hard.
too late. Is it?
It's hard. Well, it's just finding the time to like fit
Sure.
in the practice.
Sure. That's something that I always wanted to do too.
Yes, yeah. But yeah, music, I love going to concerts and things like that, walking
Nice.
around the neighborhood,
Yeah.
just, you know, stuff like that.
Wonderful. Go-to munchie when you're having a snack attack. I feel like we're talking about the kids are in bed.
Yeah.
And now it's your time to concentrate, and you're, you know, in the groove and you're working, but then you get the munchies. What's your favorite go-to snack attack?
it's always chips and salsa. It's my
For
go-to.
me, it's chips and dip. I love like French onion dip.
Oh, yeah, that's so good.
Yeah. Okay, so you did grow up reading. You have your favorite book. Do you have a favorite author? Or even a favorite author and a favorite genre?
No, I don't think I do. I'm like open to everything. Author,
That's good. And I think
yeah.
that's important too. to,
Yeah.
like,
I mean, I obviously like the typical answer right now is Colleen Hoover. I think she's
Right.
great. Like,
Yeah.
you know, but
Yeah.
but you know, I loved.
did you see her movie?
Yes. Oh, it was actually
good.
one of the first times I read a book that the movie almost to
I
the
agree.
T was exactly like the book, which was
agree.
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like growing up, I loved Shel Silverstein and
Oh,
you know
yeah.
stuff like that. So yeah, I guess it
Definitely.
just varies on
That's
what I'm
great.
feeling.
Yeah. Name one thing on your bucket list
On my bucket list.
besides trying all the new restaurants in Pittsburgh.
I think high up there is I would love to go to either London for Christmas or because they're very Christmassy.
Yeah, okay.
Or I would love to go to Monaco for one of the Formula One races, which I know is like a
Wow.
wild
No,
thing.
hey, that's cool.
But yeah, but my husband and I enjoy watching Formula One, so
Okay.
that would be like a dream to go there and see that.
That would be pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so who in your life is your biggest fan? Obviously, to do everything that you do, you need to have a support system,
Yes.
right? And so I'm sure your family is really extra supportive.
Yes.
And I'm sure you have, a circle of friends. But who would you say in your life is your biggest fan right now? I'm sure your kids think it's cool
Yeah.
that you're a published author. Would you say they're your number one fans?
I would say it would definitely be a tie between my kids and my husband for sure. Because my husband, if I come to him and say the craziest idea, he'll just
Yeah.
say, "What do you need me to do?" And
love
I
that.
know you can do that. So he's
Oh, I
so
love that.
supportive and he will do anything for me. So
Aww.
I know I'm getting emotional.
You're getting emotional. That's okay, because I'm going to get emotional.
Yeah.
That is so wonderful. You need that support system. And that's wonderful that he can provide that to you
Yes.
and be your biggest fan and keep you going and give you that encouragement
Right.
when you need, right? And if you are having a moment of doubt, which I'm sure you go
Yeah.
through,
Yes.
that he gives you that boost of confidence
Oh,
that you
yeah.
need, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, do you have, I'm just so excited that you came on the show. I'm excited to see if you do any future books.
Yeah.
I thank you for taking the time to answer my questions and kind of just meet with us. Why don't we end with telling our audience where they can get the book? Of course, we have a copy cataloged here in the Bethel Park Public Library, so it'll be on our shelves for you to borrow at any time. But if you would like a copy of your own, they should
Yes.
go to
Amazon. All you have to do is look up This House is So Special by Caitlin Starseski, and you can buy your copy on Amazon. Pretty soon, I am working on getting a hard copy for barnesandnoble.com, so I will post when that's available, hopefully within the next week. And then also I have some at Trax Farm, so if you're local and you're able
you're
to
going
go,
to those fall festivals as you are.
it's on the shelves and ready. So
Be on the lookout.
yeah, so that's the places you can find it.
That's wonderful. So
Yeah.
congratulations to
Thank you.
and thank you again for being on our show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you everyone for watching, and we'll see you soon with another brand new episode of Author Spotlight.